Okay, good afternoon. This is Brian with NetPicks and Premier Trader University. Thanks for joining us today, and we're going to be talking about how to scale your trading business. And I have with me today Troy Noonan. He's going to be a part of the presentation at certain points, showing us his strategy, Trend Jumper. So, Troy, you want to say a quick hello?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Got some great stuff to show you today. The market's been hot, huh, Brian?
They sure have. It's been a joy this week so far in trading, and that's one thing I'd like to just point out, that we are traders first. We trade live in the market each and every day. We're very active in that process, and so in today's presentation, you're going to be hearing from myself and Troy, and all the staff here at NetPicks. We're traders first. And before I begin, let me say, if there's any questions throughout, feel free to put those into the text box. I can glance at the questions, but Ron is going to be responding to your questions behind the scenes as best he can. And then when we get to the end of the presentation today, if there's anything unanswered, we will definitely announce that on the air here and get you answered up. So I don't want you to walk away without any question, being unanswered, and we will make sure that's the case before we end the presentation today. So let me begin. First, article of business is to put a disclaimer out there. And this is the standard disclaimer that says we're going to be talking about trading, about taking trades, about profitability, about risk. And, there is risk in trading. There's risk of losing money. And so you need to understand that. And so we definitely need to put that out there, that there is risk in this process. Okay. So a little bit of an agenda today. We're going to be talking about how to scale and grow your business, and a lot of different areas to consider in that process. We're going to be demoing the PTU trading strategies, and that includes what we call PTU 2.0, and it includes the Trend Jumper, which are two different approaches that we use strategy-wise inside the university. Trading is not one size fits all, so that's why we have multiple strategies inside the university. A lot of times we get that question, why do you have more than one? And, really, when we teach these methods, it will be up to you to kind of decide which method fits you personally. I have a preference in the method I choose to trade. Troy has a method, or, a reason for using the strategies he trades, and so that's what trading is all about. We're going to talk about how to trade these strategies on the Forex market, on futures, and really how to turbocharge your accounts trading this approach, and what the edge that this method gives you in the market. So that's kind of a recap of what we're going to go over today. So a little bit about NetPicks in case you don't know. We have been in this business for 17 years. And Mark Silverman is the founder of NetPicks. He normally does the presentation, and he is on a very well-deserved vacation, and so I get the duty today of presenting to you. But that's Mark in the top left, that's me in the bottom right, and so we have literally trained thousands of traders in 105 countries, and the point that I made early on in the presentation is we are traders first. We are very active in the market. I can tell you I took trades today, and Troy called trades today in his room, and so we're very, very active when it comes to that. So you're speaking with people when you interact with us that are in the markets and very active in that regard. So here's what we call the Brady Bunch slide, and Troy Noonan, who you will hear from in a moment, is in the center there. He's got that center spotlight, which he loves, and then the rest of the staff, the great staff that we have here, Will, who's on the call today, and Ron, like I said, is answering questions in the background. He's on the bottom right there, and then Mike Rixey, our stock and options guy, and a few of the other staff members. Excuse me one second here. All right, so what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about 5 key things that you can implement into your trading that will cause your trading business really to grow. And there's a number of things you've got to consider in that process. And I want to take the next few minutes and kind of talk to you about some of these things. So first point here is there's no other business that I can think of where you can give yourself a raise and increase your profitability by simply clicking a mouse button from one contract to 2 contracts to 3 contracts. And really, you need to earn the right to do that. And I'm going to talk through in a moment. I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that's very powerful that really drives that point home. But some things you need in advance of that are you need a system that gives you an edge. Okay, you got to have an edge in the market, and you need to also have consistency in your trading. Right? If you can't take that method and consistently execute that in the market, it's not going to do you any good. Okay? Drawdowns, very important piece of the trading equation. What is, you need to understand what your drawdowns are. How many losers in a row might you have on a trading sequence? And so very, very important. And you need a trade plan that details everything out. Okay? Trade plans are a very key integral part of your trading, and sticking to the trade plan is one of the key things you have to do as traders, right? How many times have you diverted from your trade plan only to have a bigger loss or lose out on potential gains because of a decision you made outside your trade plan? I know I've done it, and I know you have too. So one of the keys to successful trading is to stick to that trade plan once you've gone through the work of figuring out, the trade plan itself. Some other keys are minimizing your trade time. We're going to talk in a little bit about power of quitting, how trading just certain segments of time can be really valuable to you and minimize your exposure in the market. And then eliminating mistakes, very, very key. Practice, practice, practice. One of the things we preach inside PTU is making 25 practice trades in demo without a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you reset to 0, and continuing that process until you get through those 25 successful trades. And that's for a reason, because the last thing you want to do is make a mistake that's outside the way the system would have traded. If you make mistakes on a consistent basis, you are definitely going to lose that edge that you have with your strategy. Okay? So very, very important. So as I mentioned earlier, it is very easy to give yourself a raise in this business by simply clicking, mouse click of 1, 2, or 3 contracts. Doesn't get any easier than that. If you think about other business opportunities, if you were going to invest in a franchise, Troy likes to use the example of a pizza shop. How do you increase your profitability in that process? You have to open up another pizza shop, a second and a third and a fourth. More work, more time. In trading, with the same effort, all you have to do is increase the number of contracts that you trade. And that's one of the great things I think about trading is you can increase your size, and then also in a little bit we're going to talk about increasing your diversity in trading multiple markets. So what I want to do now is take you to a very powerful spreadsheet to kind of drive this point home. And this is a spreadsheet that Will, who's on the call today, put together for us. And it's very powerful. And we'll get you a copy of this. We'll send out a follow-up email that'll have a link to this spreadsheet so you can kind of play around with it. So let me just go through how this spreadsheet works. And so one of the things we're going to show you with this is how you need to let your trading business grow. One of the things that too many brand new traders try to do initially out of the gate is put their personal needs in front of the needs of their trading business. And by that what I mean is they try to pull money out of their trading account too soon. Okay? I guarantee if you do that, your trading account is never going to grow. And this concept is very similar to compounding, if you want to think of it that way, right? With compounding, your account will grow over time if you let it. But if you pull your money out too soon, it can't do that. So that's what we're going to show you here in just a little bit. So we're going to assume a few things. Here are the inputs for this worksheet. And we're going to assume you're starting out with $7,500. You can make this less, obviously, when you get the worksheet. But we're assuming a futures account. And the other assumption here is that we can make $50 a day. And I'm going to change this number in a little bit. You're going to see the impact on it on the final results. But let's start out with a very low $50 per day. And this is achievable on some of the lower end markets. Okay. We're going to set the maximum contracts that we will ever trade on this market to 10. Now, keep in mind, we're going to start at 1. Okay, our trade size here is only $7,500. We can't trade 10 contracts on 75, but we will start with 1 and we will grow that once we earn the right to go to 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to show you how that works in a second. Our average max risk per trade is set at 150. Our overall risk at 2.5% per trade. One of the things we highly recommend that you manage in your trading is keeping your risk to that 1 to 3% range per trade. Okay? If you go much higher than that, you are going to fall into a trap of a huge drawdown. And so keep it in that range. And the lower the better. What we find is most traders with more capital trade at a lower risk percentage. But in this case, since we're starting with 7,500, we've got to trade at that upper end. The next field here is how much we're going to withdraw once we earn the right to do so. And in this case, we're saying that we want to get to $20,000. We want to grow our trading account to $20,000. And at that point, we will start to take out $1,000 a month. And for every $5,000 that we grow our account after that, we're going to take out an additional $1,000 to the point where we're taking out $10,000 a month. Okay. So let's go down to the bottom here and see what the final result is. Again, this is very powerful. If you get nothing else out of this presentation today, I want you to take away this concept, and you can integrate this into your own personal trading no matter what system you're using. So in the top section here, we have just some expenses that you can account for, whatever it might be. You can put that in. Okay, those are just guesstimates. And you can see here our contracts that we're trading is set at 1 at this point for the first few months here. And you can see the net trading income for the first month, again, assuming a $50 per contract per day average profit. That doesn't mean every trade is $50. It's an average. You might have a $150 profit one day and a $75 loss the next day, and it averages out over time at the 50. Okay. So you can see here at the end of the first month, our capital has gone from 7,500 up to 8,205. All right. And as time goes forward here, you can see our risk per trade actually is going to decrease from that 2.5 start down to 1.3. And notice what happens in July. If we let this account grow, we haven't pulled any money out, okay, we get to earn the right to go to a second contract in August. And then the process starts over. And at this point, we earn the right quicker in 1, 2, 3, 4 months to go to 3. And so look what happens in January of the next year. It takes us 12 full months in this case before we earn the right to pull out $1,000 on a monthly basis. Okay. So again, the point I want to make here is if you had started to pull out money in the very beginning, you would never have grown your account to this point. So that's the key. Think about this for a moment. If you start up a business, a brand new business, do you get to pull a salary out of that business day 1, month 2, month 3? No. You've got to cultivate that business. You've got to work hard, blood, sweat, and tears into that business. In some cases, a year, 2 years, maybe more, before you even get to pull a dime out in salary. Trading as a business is no different. And if you adhere to this concept that I'm talking about, you will be successful in the long run. So let's go out here into the future a little bit. And I need to get down to my scroll bar and take a look at some of the numbers. So as we move out in time, second year, third year, we start to pull more and more money out until we get to the $10,000 level. Now it takes some time. In year 5, we get to the $10,000 level, where we're pulling out $10,000 a month. We've grown our account to $64,000. This is all from $7,500 and only $50 per contract average per day. I'm going to go out to the right here and show you the final result at the end of 5 years. This is pretty powerful. At the end of 5 years, we would have grown our account to $64,000. Okay, we would have pulled out $316,000, paying ourselves, right? That's important, for an overall total of $391. So very, very doable. I'm going to make one other change here, and one of my favorite markets right now is unleaded gas. And unleaded gas right now is giving us about $150 per contract per day number. So I'm going to change this to 150. Again, this is, and you might have to start with a little more than 7,500, excuse me, on RB. So let's start out at $10,000. And the average risk per trade is around $180. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the numbers with these parameters. And this is where the power of this method and approach really comes in. And so you can see here, as we go forward in time, we get to that $1,000 point much, much quicker. And we actually go to 2 contracts much quicker because we've escalated how much money we're making. And so we get to, that go to 2 contracts in March and 3 in May. And look how quickly our account grows. And we get to the $10,000 level in year 1 in October. Do you have any guesses as to what the number is going to be when I go out all the way to the right? Anybody want to guess in the text? I'll give you a few seconds before I get out there. It's going to be pretty powerful. But in 5 years, you're going to be able to grow your business, your trading business, to a value of $1.6 million. That seems almost out of this world, right? And we're only trading, we've capped out at 10 contracts. But that's the power of compounding and growing your trading business. In that time, we would have pulled out $537. I'm sorry, $500,000, $537,000, and grown our account to $1.6 million. I'm sorry, grown our account balance to $1 million. The total is 1.6. So hopefully you can see the power of this concept. Again, we're going to get you this spreadsheet, and you can play with the numbers in any way that you would like to. So let me see what some of the guesses were. Kevin Sullivan guessed 10 million. No, not quite that good, Kevin. And JP guessed 3. So no. I mean, those are some pretty good numbers, but not quite that good. But it's still very powerful, as you can see. So let me get back. Excuse me, 1 second. Let me get back to my presentation, and let's talk through the final 4 points here that I want to talk about in scaling your trading business. So one other thing you can do, and this is what I personally do, is add additional market opportunities during the same trading window. And what we're talking about, there are really 3 different primary windows in the trading 24-hour session, right? We have the Australasia session, the Asian session, we have the European session, and the US session. So if you want to think of it that way, we've got opportunities in each one of those sessions where we can start at different times, staggered times, and trade multiple markets. Sometimes you'll have overlap where one market kind of bleeds into the next one, so to speak. And you could have multiple markets going on at the same time. Other times you'll be done very quickly and be trading one market at a time in each one of these time slots. So 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is a great start time for the Forex European session. That includes on the future side the Euro Bund, the DAX futures. And this next section here is the U.S. session, and this is what I personally trade. I trade silver starting at 8 a.m. You can also start the Forex at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then at 9 o'clock, I trade heating oil and unleaded gas. And actually, the start time for me is 8:50, so a little bit before 9 o'clock. You've got DAX futures that you could start at that point. And for me, I start the DAX futures at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is the U.S. Open of the equity session. You could also look at trading the Russell, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ. the mid caps. And so you could consider stagger starting and adding to the mix of what you trade. As a brand new trader, I always recommend that you start with one market. Focus on one market first. As you become an expert at that, expert in your execution, no mistakes, and you have proper risk management, then consider adding a second market in the same time window. And wheat, great market. I love trading wheat at 10:30. So you could definitely have a great mix of trading in this time slot. And then on the nightly, daily charts, you've got dozens of stock, ETFs, and Forex options that you can trade on longer term. So number 3, consider adding new market opportunities in trade zone shifts. But I'm going to put a caveat on this. Be careful with this, because you can start to tire yourself if you get into this too much. And so what I'm saying here is you could consider trading the Eurozone, right, which goes roughly from 2 a.m. to about 5 a.m. Then you could come back and trade the U.S. session. I mean, anywhere from 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. So you could consider trading both of those shifts if you want to even diversify more. And the great thing is, with this approach that we're going to show you, both the PTU 2.0 and the trend jumper, you can use those methods to trade at any point in these zones. But again, the caveat I want to put on this is don't be like this lady sleeping in the bottom right here. And that's what you might be. I personally traded the Eurozone for 3 years. And I can tell you that it was a grind. So just make sure that that's something you want to do. I'm in the U.S. Eastern Standard Time. So for me, it was a 2 a.m. start. I traded till about 5. Then I would take about an hour a nap and get back up and trade the U.S. session. And it was a little bit of a grind. So just make sure you can put that effort into it if you decide to take that action. Number 4. If you are currently day trading, consider adding swing trading to the mix. Or if you're a swing trader, consider adding day trading to the mix. Diversification, as in any investment, is a good thing. And so whether it's futures, if you're day trading futures, why not look at adding non-correlated swing trades on the Forex to your overall trading mix. If you're day trading the Forex, think about some futures markets that you could potentially trade on a day trade basis. So the challenge here is, consider diversifying what you're doing by trading something different than what you're doing now. And number 5, I call this the forgotten opportunity. You saw on our survey question that a very small percentage of you are trading stock and options. But when it comes to liquidity and size, if you grow your account to a substantial size, you are going to need a market that you can become, big in, that scales. And the bottom line is here is you can't trade 1,000 crude contracts, on crude, right? It just doesn't work. There's not that much liquidity, so you've got to have a mechanism to scale your business. Stock and options is a great consideration there, and you can become very, very liquid. Hedge funds, when you think about hedge funds, they are in stocks. They are in those higher volume assets when it comes to growing your account. So again, I kind of reiterated this, or I talked about this in the beginning. When it comes to trading as a business, there really, in my opinion, is no better business to get involved in. You have unlimited earnings potential. Again, we talked about clicking from 1 to 2 to 3 to 10 contracts, and you have the same amount of effort when it comes to what you need to do. You just click a button, have better profitability. Minimal startup capital. I mean, what other business can you start with $5,000 and trade? There's not too many business opportunities that have that low startup capital. Controlled risk and reward, as long as you, again, as I mentioned earlier, keep your risk in that 1 to 3% zone. You're going to have winners and losers, but you have control over that. This is one point I like. No employees, limited overhead. I was involved in a computer consulting company for 20 years. I had up to 50 employees at one point. And not that I didn't like managing them, it just was additional work and stress. And with trading, you don't have any of that. It's all your effort, no employees. You decide the hours that you want to engage the market. We showed you different time slots that you can engage the market, and it's a part-time commitment with the potential of a full-time income. So some things to keep in mind. I'm sure that you, like myself, get bombarded with emails all the time showing you basically what I call curve fit systems, and they do not scale. Okay, you get the email that says 90% winners. Yeah, that's a red flag to me. Whenever I see that 90-95% winners, what you know in that mix is that that system is going to have what I call a blowout session. And by blowout, I mean it's going to be, it might have some decent results for a period of time, little ticks of profit here and there, but then all of a sudden, it's going to have a huge drawdown that you cannot recover from. All right, so keep that in mind when you're evaluating systems. When it comes to winning ratios, when we're developing a system, we like to stick in that 2/3, 1/3 zone. Basically, we want to see a strategy win 65% of the time. And that works for psychological reasons. I want to ask you a question. Do you think you can be a profitable trader with a system that has a 35% win edge? Think about that for a second. The answer to that is yes, you can be. The secondary question to that is, can you survive psychologically that particular system? And the answer, I'll give it to you, and you might respond in the text, and if you did, the answer to that question is psychologically, most traders, especially new traders, will not survive losing 65% of the time. So it's one of the reasons why we focus on systems that have about a 1-to-1 ratio and win about 65 to 70% of the time. And that we have found to be very key and critical in our development. Make sure you focus on the average dollars per trade. What are you on average making? That's one of the key components. If you are scalping and your average per trade is very low, I guarantee you that by the time you factor in slippage and commission, whatever small profit you have there is going to be eaten away by those two components. Minimize your time per day. Focus on certain hours that you can trade. Basically, get in, get out, get done. That's what we like to talk about. I'm going to talk about power of quitting here in just a minute. It's a concept that, if you haven't heard us talk about it before, is a little bit new, and it's actually integrated into all our trade plans here at NetPicks. And then finally, understand what your worst day is. Whenever you're evaluating an approach, can you take it? Can you take that heat? Can you take X number of losers in a row, whatever that might be, 2, 3, 4 losers in a row? What is the drawdown? Understand that. And it's different looking at it on paper versus actually experiencing that in real time. I guarantee it. So here's a typical equity curve that you might see presented to you from someone trying to get you to buy their system, right? Straight up, looks pretty good. A few losers in there, right? But what happens when you purchase the system? Well, this is what happens. You purchase here, and that equity curve does a reversal, right, to the downside. And we've got the robot here showing you, danger, Will Robinson, danger. So just be aware of any kind of equity curve that, when you're looking at results, just make sure that it's going to pan out for you in the end. This is a very powerful slide, and it reiterates what I've said a number of times so far, and that is it's important to keep your risk per trade at a manageable level in that 1 to 3% zone. So what you're looking at here is from Van Tharp. I need to give him credit for this. But down the left-hand side here, we have a drawdown column. So at 5%, 10% drawdown, 15% drawdown. On the right-hand side, we have what it takes to get back to zero, to break even. So this is what you need to make. 15% drawdown, you would have to make 17.6% in gain to get back to zero, right? And notice how this escalates as we get deeper and deeper into drawdown. When we get to 25%, we need a 33% gain. And heaven forbid, if you get into a 50% drawdown, you need a 100% gain just to get back to zero. Now, I don't know about you, but 100% gain is almost unrecoverable. And I never want to be in that position. If there's one thing you'll learn after you've gone through this process a few times in blowing out your accounts, you don't want to get in that spot. So what you want to do is keep your risk per trade at a manageable level. And if you know that your strategy has, a max losing streak of 5 trades, and you're risking 1%, the most you're going to draw down is 5%. That's very reasonable. You can recover from that. But if you are at a 10% risk per trade and you have 5 losers in a row, where are you at? You're at that 50% drawdown level. I get emails a lot of times from new customers that use our system, especially on the Forex, and they say, I made 30% overnight on this particular trade, whatever it might be. And I always cringe when I get those emails because I know exactly what the problem is in that situation, and they've got too much risk on the trade. And it's the second they experience, in that case, 2 losers in a row, they've blown out their account. So if there's no other point you walk away from this presentation today, it's this. Manage that risk. Make sure you keep it in that 1 to 3%. So let's talk about scaling. You heard me mention a power of quitting. Let me talk about that a little bit. Power of quitting is basically the concept of approaching a market with a trade plan that says, if I get a winner on the session and it's my first trade in the session, I'm done. Okay? Rather than continuing to trade that session, for a block of time. I mean, you can do that too, but what we found is a lot of times, if you get that 1 winner or 2 winners right out of the gate, what happens out of that? Right after that, the market goes flat, and a lot of times you end up giving that money back. So we found this to be very beneficial, both from a psychological standpoint and from the standpoint of getting you out of the market as quickly as possible once we get those winners. Another point in scaling is to remember this fact. We need to surrender that which we have no control over. And what I'm talking about there is, how many times are you sitting in front of your chart kind of cheering the price action on, wanting it to go in your favor? The bottom line is, and we don't know which direction the market's going to go, okay? All we have control over are the method we use, the amount of risk we put on, okay, and taking every trade set up per our trade plan. If we do that, those are the things we have control over. So when you have those losing trades, don't fret and think, oh, I should have done this to try to avoid that losing trade. We don't have control over the market and the price action. All we have control over is the approach that we use to engage the market. So some keys here, success in a trading business starts with your targets and entries, making sure you have an approach that gives you an exact entry and target and stop on every trade. Risk management, you've heard me talk about that probably way too much. You need to be able to handle your order management, placing those trades with your broker. Make sure you're an expert at that and not fumbling around when it comes time to place that trade. Make sure you can, very quickly execute those trades. Sometimes you have to be very quick when a trade setup comes. So other times you have plenty of time. You need to try to eliminate 99% of the mistakes in that process. I talked about the 25 trades. And then adhering to your trade plan, understanding drawdowns, and scaling your account to new highs. This is where Premier Trader University works and scales. And so another point I want to talk about, this is why franchises are so popular. And they have an exact system to replicate. Think of McDonald's for a second. How many McDonald's restaurants are there out there? They've proven their business plan works. You follow this recipe. Put your your restaurant in a certain location with X number of people. They've got it all laid out, and they have the best schools and the continuing education, and they also come out with additional new products, right? And then they're continually innovating those new offerings, and they can be expanded and scaled. You can open up additional stores. Well, Premier Trader University operates with really the same philosophy in the systems that we give to you, the training, the support, and the development of that. So what I want to do now is go to the charts, and I'm going to bring up Premier Trader University, PTU 2.0 method, and kind of walk through it and show you some results, and then Troy's going to bring up his charts using Trend Jumper. And so let me get to the chart very quickly here. So what you're looking at, let me cover some of the indicators here just really quickly. You're looking at what we call the PTU trend power. And this indicator is a proprietary indicator that we obviously give you inside the university. And the concept is really simple. Basically, when it's red, it means the trend is down. When it's green, the trend is up. Okay. Another rule that we have is that we are only looking for long trades when it's green and short trades when it's red. And there's some other components that we put with this that actually give us a trade setup that I'm not going to go into here. But needless to say, we train you on that in our training process. So this trade that we're looking at here is on unleaded gas from today. And this is on what we call a 33-tick momentum bar. Okay. One of the other things that we do inside of the university is we teach you how to size this this bar at the beginning of every week. We size this bar based on current market action, current volatility. Right? Markets expand and they get very volatile, and sometimes they get very small. And so we don't trade the same bar size each and every week. It does vary based on that volatility. That's one of the key ingredients to our approach with PTU 2.0. So this trade is what I call the perfect scenario today, in that it got me in right at my start time. Remember, I told you I started 8:50 on RB. And so we got our setup right at 9 o'clock. That's when crude opens up. This trade took all of 3 minutes, and that's why I call it the perfect session. We had our power of quitting very, very quickly in 3 minutes. That's probably one of the faster trades that I've had in a while. And so very, very quick from the entry to the target objective here today on unleaded gas. Now, the other point I want to make here is notice that we have very definite entries. That's what this plus sign is. We have a target 1 and a target 2. And we also have a stop. This is all set up right here at this point in time. We had that all set up before we knew what the final outcome was here, right? When we put this trade on. And so that is PTU 2.0. I'm going to show you some results in a little bit, but what I want to do now is have Troy show you Trend Jumper and some of the markets that he looked at this morning. So Troy, I'm going to change over to you and let you take us through Trend Jumper.
All right, great. Thank you, Brian. Boy, that's pretty powerful stuff. Every time I see that capital growth, it just reminds me why I'm trading. I mean, if I can make $50 a day net and just stay disciplined, that's pretty simple, a pretty simple lifestyle to get yourself up to a $10,000 a month income. It's just a matter of doing it, doing it every day. And the strategies are doing it. It's whether the trader is doing it is the question. My biggest problem today was trying to figure out what to show everybody because there's just so many amazing options. I woke up this morning and my Forex account, I mean, it was up like 2,500 pips from my open positions. And a lot of that being made overnight while I'm sleeping. So I thought maybe that would be the best to start showing everybody. What I like to do when I'm showing Trend Jumper is to show the most current trades, what's happening right now. And I've shown Trend Jumper like that ever since we started presenting it way back last year. And to this day, I'm still doing that. Today, it was just, we had trades, Brian, that was kind of like the one you showed on unleaded. We had some trades that were done in 2 minutes, some that were done in a few minutes longer. It was just pretty straightforward. Take the trades, in, out, done, see you tomorrow. Pretty great way to trade. With the end of day Forex, this is my favorite way of trading Forex. I just check my charts once a day at the end of each session when the bar closes. This is a current trade that actually hit its target today while day trading. I was calling the live trade room with the PTU trade room with our day trades. This trade was just on autopilot because I already had it placed in my account, and it hit the full target right here. It got in a few days earlier. So let me use this example just to kind of illustrate why this is my favorite way of swing trading Forex and how easy it is, okay? The main indicator is the green dotted line. That's the jump line. And if a trade sets up below it, I mean, there are a few exceptions to this rule, but, I'll teach you that in training. For the most part, if it sets up below the green dotted line, that means you're going short. If it sets up above, like over here on the left, that means you're going long, okay? So you already know the direction of your trade. That's pretty big. It takes a lot of stress off of you when you know exactly what you're going to do with your trade before you ever get into the trade. So, pretend it's on the right edge of the chart here. You don't know what's coming next, but the bar closed, and you see the little plus sign. That's an entry. The stop is up here, the targets are down here, and all I have to do is click on the bar, and I'm going to get the entire trade set up right here in the data window, and it's set up in the order that the dots appear on the chart. So my stop, my entry, my targets, very simple. I already have my entire trade plan on this trade before I even get into the trade. Okay, so that's a big, huge step towards succeeding, is knowing your entire plan in advance. But when you combine that with a trade plan that has a proven track record and a strategy that has a proven track record, along with the training that goes with it, now you're really stacking the odds in your favor, and success is attainable. And, let's face it, most traders fail. So the idea that success is attainable, I mean, that should get everyone interested. That's why we're trading, right? To succeed and to make money. Let me show you why this is so powerful. I'm going to put a horizontal line right here on the entry. I'm going to put another horizontal line on the stop. Okay? So we know that we're going to risk the entry to the stop. So if the trade goes against us, that distance is how much we're risking. Now we need to put on very small risk. We never want to risk more than 2% per trade. And I go into these trades with two positions. One position is going to come off at the full target, and the second position is going to trail. So I have to put 1% on each one of those positions to stay on that 2% risk. But my target, if I hit it, is way down here. And so I'm risking this little bit to make this big amount just with my first position. That's nearly 2 to 1. I mean, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic risk-reward ratio. And all the trend jumper trades are set up like this. Okay? And, of course, it did hit the full target. Along the way, I'm moving my stop down and taking the risk off my trade. So I'll scoot these out of the way. When I hit the middle target, and that even happened today. I mean, it happened faster than I could even react to it, and then it hit the full target. But by the time I'm done with this session, I will move my stop from here, where it is now, and I will lock in a little bit of profit and take the risk off my trailer in hopes to catch a bigger move. And those bigger moves happen with a lot of frequency. In fact, let me just show you another quickie here. Let's see, the pound dollar. Do I have the pound dollar? Yeah, this is pretty cool because this is all happening live. This was major support, this big yellow line here. And you could see this trade got in, it hit the full target, broke through support. It's still trailing. All these stops have held so far. Last time I showed it, the stop was here. Now the stop is down to here. So remember that little 2 to 1 risk that I showed you. I'll just show it to you again because this is pretty dramatic. You can really see it. All right, so here's what the risk originally was from here to here. The 2 to 1, I exited here. You could also scale out at each target level. Okay, but look at where the stop is. way down here now. So now I've risked this little amount on my trailer to make this big amount here. It's way more than 2 to 1. Who knows when this trade will end? I've already added to my position right here another trade that I have moved that stop, or I will by the time I'm done with this session, to break even. And so I'm actually building a position as this trade continues. And so the trend jumper allows you to take advantage of the 2 or 3 major moves that happen on each pair each year in a very methodical way with that great win-reward ratio and an excellent way of managing your trades. And it gets you in right when markets are going to jump for fast and immediate profits. And to really illustrate that, you can see on the CAD yen, just one trade of many. I showed an example the other day of a 15-minute chart. This same trade took over 20 hours. It was very profitable. But who wants to manage a trade for 20 hours? I put this trade on. It took me 3 minutes. And a day and a half later, it was out with 179 pips. And now the trailer is beginning to move up, and it will move up to here by the end of the day. And who knows how far that's going to go. Do you want to spend hours to make 170 pips, or do you want to just spend a few minutes? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. Let me just show you a quick day trade, and I'm going to pass it back to Brian. Like I said, I like to show what's happening now. We finished heating oil in a matter of minutes today at the beginning of our session. I mean, I could roll back and show you the winner. It was like 120 ticks or something like that. But I'll just show you what just happened now, because this was happening while this session was going. Some traders do trade it in the afternoon, and I just want to show you how it works the exact same way as what I just showed you on Forex. Below the jump line, we're going short. There's the plus sign. You click on the bar. You get the full trade set up right here. Remember, this is happening there at the edge of the chart. Now, if you saw this bar without the setup, would you even know to get short there? I doubt you would. I mean, maybe some traders, maybe they're going to get short elsewhere, but with Trend Jumper, you got structure. You've got exactly where you're getting in, exactly where you're getting out. This trade went from 12:09 to 12:16. You know, it's lunchtime. It took a little longer. 7 minutes. Again, I want to show you. Here's your entry. Here's your stop. That's how much you're risking. We're going to this target here. Nearly 2 to 1. And then the trailer for your second position. No longer 2 to 1, is it? You risk this little amount to make this big amount. This big trade here, just that one trade, that's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It finally ended at 12:29. That took 20 minutes. You only need one of those a day. And that's what our trade plans are pretty much all about. And then you use what Brian's been talking about with the capital appreciation, and instead of trading more, you just let your account grow and you keep the same risk proportionate to your account. You keep it small, you're in a comfort zone, you're not afraid to put on the bigger positions because your account has grown, and you just, instead of trading more, you just trade more quantity as far as number of contracts. And so you're looking for quality, not quantity. You don't have to work any harder. You don't have to keep trading and be Iron Man each and every day. That's the big message here. If you want to succeed, you want to reduce your risk exposure to the market. This is how you do that. Brian, I could show charts till I'm blue in the face. There's so many great examples. I think I'll pass it back to you, and we can look at more charts if there are questions during the Q&A.
Okay, thanks, Troy. And I want to go ahead and get into the part of the presentation that's really going to show you how to get involved with Premier Trader University. So I want to go over a few things, and then I will get to how you can get involved. But give me a few minutes here to kind of explain the process. So first of all, we designed Premier Trader University basically to engage traders more interactively, to help them in the process of learning to trade. And it doesn't matter whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or advanced trader. You know, you saw in the very beginning slide, we've been around for a long time. And the way we used to deliver systems is, we would have a trade system, we would kind of come out with it and plop it in your lap and expect that you as a trader would go take that system and be successful with it. Well, there are many, many other components to trading, as you probably have learned. There's trade psychology, there's proper risk management, there's key levels on the chart. All that is covered inside of the university. So let me kind of lay out here how it works. First of all, when you enroll, it's very easy. You immediately have access to what we call step number 1, the Prereq videos. And that is basically a home study format that you can learn at your own pace. It's roughly 16 hours of course material that covers some of the basics of trading. And we want everyone to try to go through that so that when you come to the 2-day intensive training class, you're at the same level as everyone in the class. Now, this material is basic, and if you're intermediate or advanced, you probably aren't going to get as much out of it. But I will say I've gotten feedback from advanced traders that say, you know what, I learned something from this. There's stuff in here that I didn't even know. So it is really, really powerful material, and it was put together by our coaching staff. We talk about the pros and cons of each of the market, the brokers, how to pick them, charting, and how to read charts, platforms, different platforms, strengths and weaknesses. And so that's all inside the prereqs. One of the videos I do is talking about your trade desk, considering the computer that you're using and how your trade desk is set up. You want to make sure you have everything properly functioning in your trading business. Money management, we talk about that. And then trade psych. We talk about trade psychology and how it can affect your trading. So that is the prereq process. Step number 2 is the undergrad training, and that is 2 days of intensive training. And I mean intensive. By the time the day 2 is done, a lot of times people's heads are spinning. And the great thing is, though, we record those sessions. We make them available to you online for replay. And the goal in that process is for you to come out of that training understanding the strategies that we're training, which is PTU 2.0 and Trend Jumper. And all the ins and outs of those strategies, you will come out and have those mastered. Then after the 2-day undergrad, by the way, the 2-day undergrad class is going to be next Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll go from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. each day, and we pretty much go straight through. So just a little bit of an update there. I've got a slide actually in a little bit that'll tell you that. Step number 3 is what we call the major training. And that training is basically we want you to select an area of expertise, either futures, forex, or stocks. Okay. All of these are going to be available to you, but I always recommend to traders that they pick one of those and focus on it. Maybe you want to go through all 3 to get a feel for what might fit you the best. That's another approach that you could take. One thing I want to point out to you is when we originally launched PTU, we made you pick one of these, and then if you wanted another one, we charged for it. It wasn't probably 2 months into the process we decided, you know what, we're going to give this at no charge to everybody. So that, again, is available to you. You can pick which one you want to focus on, and then you'll have the other ones available to focus on into the future. So as I mentioned, step number 3, you can focus on futures, the futures major, forex, and the different pairs you can trade there, the euro yen, the Aussie, the pound yen. I think you'll be surprised in a little bit when I share some results with you which pairs actually produce the most profit. You're going to be surprised here in a little bit. Stock and options. Again, I've talked about that earlier, how that's kind of the forgotten area of investing. And one of our experts, Mike Rixey, goes into training in depth on stock and options and how he has used those in his own personal trading. You're going to receive access to all 3 of the majors at no additional charge. The other thing that the PTU training gives you is what we call the art of trading. Okay, there is, you can take the method and the approach and trade it strictly as is without any kind of adjustment. But when you become a little more experienced, you're going to notice things on the chart, swing levels, highs and lows of the day, that you're definitely going to want to work around. And with those kind of adjustments, you can add to your performance. That's what this table is showing you. First column here is showing you the system straight as is without any adjustments. And then the second column here is showing you that same approach with a little bit of what we call the art of trading. Again, I want you to keep in mind, this is a very small percent. We're not talking about making a decision on every trade. Okay? You might make one decision a week that's going to improve your results based on what you see on the chart. Okay? So again, we train you on that, what to look for inside of the university. Now here's the results. This is from PTU 2.0. Okay, and in a second I'm going to go to some slides that will show you results for Trend Jumper. This is from the start of 2013. So natural gas, $2,700 per contract. Unleaded gas futures, my favorite market right now, $4,000 per contract. S&P, I know we have probably a lot of S&P traders. S&P 500, $1,575 per contract. DAX futures, $5,000. Wheat futures, great market for beginning traders. I mean, it's the lowest, not the lowest profitability here, but it's a great market from the standpoint of what you need to get started trading it, and the time invested in the market, and then your tick value. It's a great market for beginning traders. When it comes to swing trading, let's look at some of those results. The Euro Aussie. Remember, I told you you'd be surprised at what is performing. This is from the first of the year, 7,000 pips, over 7,000. Since October 12th, when we started tracking this particular approach, 23,000 pips. That's just crazy. This is on swing trading. Euro CAD, 3,800. And the pound yen, 2,400, since the first of the year. If you're looking to day trade the Forex, again, we're not huge fans of day trading the Forex. There's a number of reasons why. In fact, we do a whole presentation on why that is, but if you're looking to do that, we've got the Euro Yen that's had some pretty decent results, 4,000 pips since the first of the year. So these are the Trend Jumper results, and Troy can probably speak better to this. In fact, Troy, you want to come on the mic and talk about these next three slides?
Oh, okay. So crude oil, yeah, that's right. We made new equity highs today. Today we hit two trades, 46 cents, I think it was. We were done really fast. That's like $460 or whatever. And as of today, it was up $28.67. So that's, 28,670. And of course, then you got to subtract out some trade costs. That's just the gross total. All right. And then we had no losers in October. In fact, we didn't even get our first losing session until November. And since then, it's won 19 out of 23 weeks. It's been positive, 83% winning session on a weekly basis. So if you could start trading a strategy and that you have an 83% chance that by the end of the week you're going to be positive, I mean, that's a real confidence boost. The Russell E-mini, that one is, I've been following that one, so that result goes up until, January. But this is the time of year when the Russell is a market I'm not very interested in. I'll get interested in it again in April, and while I say that, it's actually been winning a lot. It won today. The Dow E-mini, though, has been on fire. It's up 1,300 points. It's had 16 after today. Today it was 15. Now 16 winning sessions in a row, and that's a really great market for small accounts. And we're seeing similar results on a lot of different markets. Some of my favorites: heating oil, unleaded. The DAX, again, was great today, one and done. And, of course, best of all, we're accomplishing it with very few trades and very small risk on each trade, like I showed you. These are some of the Forex swing trade results. This is all of 2012 up until the current, sometime this week. Some of these I've only updated through the middle of January. I just haven't had a chance to get to them. But most of these are as of the most current trade to close. And you could see these are thousands and thousands of pips, just like the Aussie, the pound Aussie, this trade here that I showed you today. Each one of these trades just taking a few minutes a day to put on and manage. And, you could just see the overall consistency. I'm using the exact same strategy on every single pair. I mean, that's pretty easy. You don't have to relearn stuff. It's not like it's curve fit. It's just working. So, I mean, we can come back and look at this again, Brian, if you want, but that's basically it.
Okay, thanks, Troy. So let's just talk a little bit about what other traders have said that have been involved in PTU. That's what you're looking at here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but we have a lot of satisfied members that have joined PTU and gone on to be very, very successful. And so here is a little bit of their feedback in that process. We always love, getting good feedback. I enjoy working with traders, and to me, this is really kind of the benefit of that, is getting that great feedback and seeing someone take our approach and what they've learned inside the university and applying it and becoming successful. Randy here, actually in our mastermind and looking to move forward here, he's going to be trading with a prop firm. So Randy's having some good success here. And so so inside the university, we have some exclusives when it comes to Trend Jumper. I want to kind of make you aware of that. You're going to get, if you decide to join today, the advanced trading calculator for Trend Jumper. That calculator moves the stop intelligently, so to speak. It has a trade management. The scaling that Troy talked about in that heating oil trade, it will automatically plot the correct stop for you in that process. And so you're going to get those features only inside the university. If you are coming to us and you've purchased Trend Jumper on the outside, you don't currently have that. Inside the university, we're going to teach you. I talked about range bars and how those change each and every session. We're going to teach you how to do that. It literally takes 15 seconds at the beginning of the week to make those adjustments. But again, we feel it's very important that it's one of the key components to kind of adjusting our trades to the volatility, the current volatility in the market. Trade Assist is something that you will have access to. There is an additional fee for that. Not something you need right out of the gate, but if you want to develop additional trade plans, we have a piece of automation that is available to you for both Trend Jumper and PTU 2.0. I can tell you that in my trading, I use the automation as an assist, kind of a tool. I'm sitting here watching the trades, but the automation is actually, in most cases, placing those trades. In some cases, I have to turn it off and take action outside of that. But again, it's a tool that it will be available to you inside the university. Stock and options, trading with Trend Jumper, we'll be covering that. And the training classes that we have coming up here next week on Tuesday and Wednesday will cover all the settings on the calculators and so forth. And getting into the detail of that. So, as I mentioned, next week on the 19th and the 20th, we will have the undergrad class. So you are really at a kind of a perfect time here to get involved, as you can go through the Prereq videos between now and then then be ready for next Tuesday's and Wednesday's training. After that, you can get involved in the majors at your own pace. We'll make those available to you, and you can go through either the futures, forex, or stock and options, again, at your own pace. So here are a few of the extras that you're going to get. We talked about the Trend Jumper. That is included in this package. Back when we first launched PTU, we had one strategy. It was a couple strategies inside the university. In November, Troy was in development of this strategy for a long period of time, actually, and we made it available to our PTU members at that point in time for no extra charge. So that's kind of a concept that will happen going forward. When we come out with a new strategy, it'll be available to PTU members, at no charge. That's one of the advantages of being involved in the university. You're going to get one-on-one coaching. Very important. I encourage every new trader to PTU to take advantage of this. That's one-on-one coaching with Will, Troy, or Ron. And definitely take advantage of that. Live in the market training each and every week. And we do our best. We bend over backwards to give you great customer support. We can log onto your computer and help you in any way you need. And there's a number. We can talk on the phone, email, live chat. There's a number of ways to get in touch with us. We have 4 days a week live in the market training, Monday through Thursday, where we're in the market showing you the method, before we know the final result, and kind of live. I think that's so important to reinforce what you've learned in the 2-day class. Also, we just launched the European market hours. So if you're in the Eurozone and want to take advantage of that, that's 2 days a week with our coach from the UK, James Kessick. And so one other thing I want to make you aware of before I get to the pricing on PTU is the TradeStation Scholarship. This is an amazing offering from TradeStation. I encourage everyone to take advantage of this because you can get the full tuition reimbursed to you through commission rebates. All you have to do is sign up with a brand new account with TradeStation and let them know a special code that we'll give you once you've signed up, and you're going to get that rebate over time up to the full price of what you pay for PTU. So great, great offer from TradeStation. So let's talk a little bit about what you get. We've got a value of $17,972 on it. I know that probably seems out of this world, but really when you think about it, this particular offering has been in development for over 17 years. Everything that is in this product, so to speak, is the culmination of Mark's experience, my experience, and the coach's experience in trading. And so here are some of the features that you get in that. So let's get right to the tuition, and here it is. So $39.97 for someone that is brand new to NetPicks or PTU. That's your price. Or you can do 4 payments of $9.99 and go at it that way. If you have purchased one of our products in the past, that would include SST, HVMM, UMT, some of our past strategies, we're going to give you some credit for that. We're going to give you a $1,000 discount. So your price would be $297, or you can do 4 payments of $749. Now, if you just purchased Trend Jumper on its own, which we did launch last 2 weeks ago, we will give you credit for that. And so that might be something we'll have to take offline, but depending on what you paid for that, we will give you 100% credit on that. We have 11 seats left for this class. So if you are interested, we encourage you to go ahead and get signed up. I'm going to give you the link next, but before I do that, let me talk about our guarantee. And here's our guarantee. Basically, it's our commitment to you that you will be 100% happy with this approach and the training that you're going to receive. All we ask in return is a few things. First of all, you need to review the prereqs. Okay, the prereq videos that I talked about, you've got to go through that. You need to attend the 2-day live training and get an understanding of the method and the approach. Install the indicators. Go through the process of trading a market. And we want you to trade at least 25 trades on a demo account. I know it says live or demo, but my opinion is you got to be trading demo here before you even consider live trading. So make those 25 trades. If after you do that you don't see a positive result and you're just not happy, you can return for a full refund. Cancel anytime. And so you've got 45 days to make that evaluation. So here is the link to enroll. One last thing here. One last thing. I'm sorry, I skipped over it. We are going to give those on the webinar today an additional $500 off the price. So the $39.97 that I talked about goes down to $34.97, and the $2,029.97 goes down to $24. So that is on this webinar only. In a little bit, when you go to the link, and it's for the full pay only. If you're on the pay plan, sorry, you will not get this particular discount. So all you do is key in 500 and the word off in the code when you're prompted to do so. So here's how you get signed up. www.netpicks.com/enroll. And I'll get that link posted out to you in a second. But let me kind of go over one last thing. And that's this. We showed you the results with PTU 2.0. Troy showed you results. I always like to think about, when I'm looking to invest in something like this, how quick is my payback? And as you can see here, the payback's pretty quick. Within a little over 2 months, these are the results in the different markets. Pick any one of these, and you've paid yourself back the cost of this course. And so I think that's really a really quick payback. I don't know of any other investment you can make where you get your money back that quickly. So just something else to think about. And again, here's the link. I'm going to pop that into the chat here in a second. And just really quick, a couple other things. Thanks to those that joined us live. We did some live road shows back in the end of 2012, and We were in a bunch of different cities. We're looking to do it again here in 2013. We would be privileged to see anybody in here in person that is interested. That's actually Kevin Conway presenting there, and I'm off on the side here. I think Corey took this picture. She got a side view of me, but this is out in LA, and I think this is Troy sitting here probably looking at charts. And anyways, we look forward to doing that again. It's always fun to meet people in person in that process. If you have any questions, I encourage you to call or contact us via the email address listed here. So with that, thank you for being with me through the bulk of this presentation. We're going to get now to questions that have not been answered. If you have a question at this point that you would like answered up, go ahead and get that into the chat. And Troy, if you can be on the mic for any questions that might be pointed towards you, that would be awesome. And again, I see John M. asking for the spreadsheet. Just know that we will be getting that out to you in a follow-up email. And we'll definitely get that link out to you because I want you to take advantage of that particular tool. That's an awesome tool, and hopefully that will reinforce. Yeah, no problem. JP is asking about Canadian traders qualifying for the tuition rebate, and that is an ongoing question that we get quite often. And the answer is it depends on where you're located. The best piece of advice that I can offer you is contact TradeStation. And if you want to send me an email, I'll give you our contact there. And what he can do is before you even start the process of either signing up with us or signing up with TradeStation, ask him the question if you qualify for the rebate. And the reason you don't is if they, for some reason, cannot set you up with a futures account. Okay? So I'm going to give you, JP, my direct email address, and I'm doing that right now in the chat. And so go ahead and send me an email. I'll get you our contact at TradeStation. JP loves the sayings at the bottom of the slides. Nice touch. Yeah, Mark put those together, so I'll give him the credit on that. Sam's asking, I trade Velocity Futures and Chart Ninja, so would I only need the indicator? Yeah, Sam, that's the way it works. Let me talk about that a little bit. The platforms that we support inside of PTU are TradeStation. Obviously, what you saw today on my chart was TradeStation. What you saw on Troy's chart was TradeStation. NinjaTrader is another option for you, and so the indicator set works very well on Ninja. And for Trend Jumper, we have that indicator set available on MetaTrader 4. Now, with that said, I'm not going to recommend that you trade on MetaTrader 4. I would love to see you get on a charting platform that's a little more robust than MetaTrader 4. Okay. Calvin asking a great question. What is the minimum account requirement for futures? Well, with TradeStation, it's $5,000. Okay. The more important question then is, what is the requirement to trade specific instruments? And we cover that inside the university. You know, the Dow, wheat futures, you could probably get away with $5,000. I'd like to see you have a little more. But if you're going to trade silver and the DAX and those kind of instruments, obviously you need a much larger account. Okay. Yeah, John asking again for a copy of the spreadsheet. Just to confirm one more time, at the end of the webinar, as long as you gave us a valid email address when you signed up, which you're here, you probably did, we're going to send out the replay of the presentation today, along with a copy, with a link that you can download that spreadsheet. Tony asking, how do we get discounts for previous systems, SST, and Trend Jumper? Okay, Tony, when you go to the link, let me pop that back up here. When you go to netpicks.com/enroll, you're going to notice a number of categories. One of them is the family category. So you just would click on either the full pay under that category or the payment plan, and you're going to get the $1,000 off by doing that. Just going through the questions here, I see Ron has answered most of the questions. If there's anything that hasn't been answered at this point, I want to encourage you to get it into the text. And sorry, I'm stuttering a little bit, but I've been talking for now, how much? An hour and a half? Getting a little tired, so sorry about that. If, again, we haven't answered your question, get it into the text, and we will get it answered up. Sam, let's see, can you talk about the trading room? Gus asking if we can talk about the trading room. Troy, why don't you take that one? Talk a little bit about what you cover inside the trading room and the hours and so forth.
Yeah, sure, Brian. The trading room is, well, it's Monday through Thursday basically, and we start at around 8:45 Eastern, and we'll go as late as 11 a.m. Eastern. And 2 days a week at 11 a.m., give or take, depending on what's happening with our trades, then Mike will take over and do a very specific session on stocks and options. So it's really cool, and I believe there's a European session also, right, Brian, that we also offer twice a week, I believe?
That is correct, and we just started doing that at the first of the year. So James Kessick, our UK coach, covers that particular room.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great ways to actually learn in real market environment. We're taking real trades. We're talking about the trades. We answer all your questions, and I mean, it's the best way to learn. Today we had over 90 people in the trade room, and it was very active. There's a lot of really great traders in our membership too, and it's amazing what they come up with. It's just a good environment. You know, trading can be a lonely business, and the trade room definitely changes that dynamic quite a bit. So, I mean, that's the trade room pretty much, and we're doing live trades. Like I said, today we were looking at some Forex swing trades as well, and we pretty much cover the gamut.
Okay, questions look like they're coming to an end here. So again, and Janet, you're welcome. Janet's saying thank you so much for welcome there. I did put the link out. Anybody interested to get signed up today? I'm also going to put my number, my personal number out. I know we gave you the number to call into PTU, which you're welcome to do. But if anybody would like to talk to me directly, I'm going to put that into the chat. I'm not going to put it on the slide because this particular video will be produced and put out on the web, so I don't want to do that. But anybody that would like to talk to me personally can give me a call at my direct number, which I'm going to put out into the chat right now. So feel free to do that after the presentation today. And so Hugh, looks like you would like a call, and Ron, just make a note of that if you would. I know, Ron, you've made a note of a few people that would like a call. And so any other questions? I'm going to start to wrap things up here. Again, I thank you for your attendance today. I hope that in the presentation there were a few tidbits that you can take and invest into your own trading, whatever system and approach you might be using. Hopefully you'll give us some consideration at the university here to give us the option to work with you and help you in the process of building your trading business. So I want to thank Troy for being on the call today and showing us Trend Jumper and his particular approach. And appreciate your time, Troy, on this. And anything you would like to say in closing, Troy?
Brian, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to be with us today, and I'm looking forward to meeting our new members in the trade room. And hopefully you learned something from this webinar, and I look forward to talking to a lot of you again very soon.
All right, thanks, Troy. Thanks, everyone, again. And one more thing, if you want to chat with me, I'm more than happy to do that. So feel free to give me a call. Again, I put my number out there. And if you have any questions at all, reach out to us, either on the PTU direct line there, the email address, or contact me directly. So again, thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of today.